Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. I am so glad to be here with you today. Hi, Philippa. Hi, Kat. Hey, Sandy and Michelle. I feel like I need my Romper Room magic mirror. I did not get my needle threaded. Surprise, surprise. How are you guys doing today? They are working on the area of the roof right overhead, but it should be just hammering, which never thought I would say. I am grateful for just hammering, but I am. I am. Let me get this needle threaded and I will turn things around. And let's see here. Hey, look who's there. BJ, I am so glad to see you. What is new and exciting in your corner of the world? Yeah, I usually see comments from you after. Huya's here from Turkey. All right, let me turn my cameras around. So yeah, there we go on the hammering. Oh, well. So I'm not doing French knots today, even though I need to do probably some more French knots on there. Let me get a knot in this and I will show you what I have got going. Let's see here. You know, I'm alternating between finishing some wildscapes, finishing in the middling of some wildscapes, and then looking at some old projects that have been hanging around a while to get things done for Open Studios. Ooh, BJ says, I have 11 projects set up for 3 county fairs in August and September this year. Wow. One of these days, maybe I will do something for the county fair. So this is a long, hey, Wendy. Wendy is Letters from Sunflowers. This long scroll, and it is it's about 3 feet long. And I had started it a few years ago. It was sort of like a transition when I was doing the Just Because books and clusters. And I love so much about it. I want to finish it off, and brainstormed with a friend how I was going to do the back. And so really what it needs right now is some beads. Thank you, Michelle. And so I I've auditioned a lot of beads. I have these pretty sparkly, they're goldy. Hi, Sue. But they have little flecks of pinks and purples on them. And then I got these guys. I've got these guys. I've got these guys, and I'm not sure, but I do have these guys, which I might save for the end. So I'll put those guys out of the way. And it's very, very hard. Uh-oh, where did I put I just threaded my beading needle and mistakenly, wow. Here it is over here. All right, pay attention, Susan. There we go. It's very hard for me to go random, but I'm going to try. Because I really just want to get to the finish line on this. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how it's going to go. We're just going to try. And this is not normally the way I bead. I usually like to have something in a hoop to bead. But we are just going to go with it. And you guys can ask me questions. We can chat. We can whatevers. Thank you for those of you that have watched the recent videos. It's been fun to start getting some videos out there again and get some feedback. Hey, Phyllis, how are you doing today? Oh, and by the way, this thing needs a title. So if any titles come to you guys, I have been brainstorming and have not been happy with anything so far. So let me know if something comes to you. So I wasn't sure if I was going to like the bigger beads with it, but I actually think I do. These are, so you're too young, Kat, but many, many years ago, there was a home, you know, those home parties, like Tupperware parties, only this was for Princess House Crystal. And so these were coasters from the Princess House Crystal pattern. I think you got them as a hostess gift for having a party. But they're perfect for beads because they're not real deep. So I can, and I like the shiny stuff in there. I just want to do one set of these and see how I feel. And I don't think that's too big. I don't know if you guys can see. It's a lot bigger than the French knots, but I think that's just going to give some different dimension to it. Hey, Barbara. Huya had a comment up there, Barbara. If you have a chance to translate it, I'm sure she's saying hello and welcome and all that good stuff. Oh, BJ, you remember? So I wish I could share pictures of mine there. Princess House also. I can set a table for 6 with all Princess House. Oh, wow. Yeah, I used to go to the thrift stores when I lived in Virginia. They had great thrift stores for crystal stuff. And I put together a big collection for a really reasonable price. Kat says, I always grab crystal from garage sales and estate sales when I can. I'll have a huge collection eventually. You've been pretty fortunate. Okay, I'm not so sure I like that blue one up there. All right, so that's good. If I can eliminate ones that I don't want to use, I'm okay with that too. Sometimes you get too many choices. I might need the darker ones. So these have a little more purple. Winding Road. Winding Road is a possibility. Thank you, Barbara. That's kind of what I thought. Barbara said, Huya says hello from Turkey to Susan and all her friends there. Hey, Neil. I have a set of these coasters, which I use for my beads. See, they're great because I can't quite scoop the tiny ones like that, but I am less likely when I put my big fingers into these little things, they go all over the place. Michelle says went to many crystal parties. Yeah, they were the thing back in the day, weren't they? All right, so I'm just guessing. Oh, I'm sorry, I am out of frame here. You guys need to remind me. Boy, there were so many. I really thought the home party plan was going to be the thing for me to do as a stay-at-home mom. I didn't sell crystal, but I sold home interiors. Do you guys remember that? Home interiors? So I sold that for a while. I did plant parties. Those weren't very successful. And I sold embroidery. Well, it was Crewel Kits. Shoot, I can't remember the name of it. One of you guys are going to remember. The embroidery kit. They were Crewel embroidery, so they came with the yarn. I wasn't very good at it back then, but gosh, I can't remember the name of the company. All right, we're just going to kind of go around here. Sandy says I still have a lot of home interiors. Okay, so I think I'm doing better on the colors. I'm not so sure that I like. We'll see. I probably don't want to use too many of the really big ones in the Tupperware parties. Avon, yep. I didn't sell any of the big name stuff, which was good because I wasn't very good at it. I was much better at the shopping stuff. Well, that's kind of gets lost, so it's going to need something bright next to it. I love the look of beads, and I see people that have just these really intricately beaded. I saw somebody did a beaded purse. It takes so much time to do beads, but they really add a lot. All right, I think I'm going to have to be careful. Gosh, I don't know if you guys can really see, to not use too many of the great big ones. I think a little bit, but not too many. Merle Norman. Oh, under Avon. Oh, I can't remember another product under Avon, but I remember Merle Norman also. Okay, some of us are old. I don't think, do they do parties? Well, I guess they probably do much different parties. Neil says, I enjoy doing crewel work along with stump work. To me, it all sort of runs together, doesn't it? I mean, I haven't done much stump work yet. I keep saying that's going to be my settle down and be patient thing. I think it was Merle. No, Mary Kay. Mary Kay had the pink Cadillacs. Wasn't that it? But crewel work, I mean, isn't the only difference between crewel work and embroidery the size of the fibers? At least that's the way it is in my head. Barbara said, hi, Neil, you're new to me. He's been here a few times. He's in the Facebook group. So today is Work in Progress Wednesday. Thank you, Sue, for actually reminding me when you posted yesterday, because I was a bad admin and forgot about it. So I will put a post up when I get out of here. What I loved about doing this, okay, this is just some Sari silk scraps that I tacked down. And because I tacked them down, you couldn't tell where they were, cut. And then this is like little bits of lace, and I think there's little bits of cheesecloth on here. It's a nice way to use up the little scraps. Sue said, crewel is a form of embroidery. Yes, larger threads, most often yarn. Yeah, I remember we used to have to teach people how to do the yarn braids. Sandy said, from the sound of your embroidering education as a little girl, I think crewel work was what you went. Yeah, the show me the back of your work and being yelled at for it not being all nice and neat and tidy. I mean, see, the backs of my work, they're not neat and tidy. Evidently, you're not supposed to travel the yarn across the back. Oh, well, I do it. Thank you, Barbara. Trying to, get to finishing things up for Open Studios. I'm sure that I underestimate how long everything's going to take and overestimate my abilities to get things done. I wonder if this yellow is going to show up. Wendy said, crewel work is a kind of embroidery. Crewel wool is normally used, but you can use normal floss as well. Yeah, I remember having a lot of that wool. I don't know that that one's going to show up. Well, let's just stick it down and see what we think. Oh, we could do a cluster. I wonder if I do 3. I'm so excited, you guys. Today, this morning, the windows and the new patio door were delivered. They won't be installed for a few weeks, I'm sure, but all right, can I do 3 of these, and then I'm going to come back in. Sandy said, when you made me so happy when you pumped into the comments on my videos. We should all be commenting on each other's videos when we can. I just wish I had more time to watch. Hey, Joanne. She said, hi, Susan in chat. Sorry, I'm late. That's a beautiful piece you're working on. Reminds me of a Christmas wreath. It's a long one. It's 3 feet long. Oh, stitched on linen. I had forgotten that part. Neil says crewel work is worked with crewel wool and stitched on linen. Barbara said, Sandy said, Wendy, not win. Barbara said, hi, Wendy. I found a whole set of colors of crewel wool at the library's free craft exchange. It came home with me. Oh, how fun. I was so tempted. Our local senior center has a little shop, and they posted like a dozen pictures of yarns and threads recently. I'm not so crazy about that, but I'm going to leave it and I'm going to move along. And I did not go down. So Wendy and Sandy have been chatting on Wendy's video or Sandy's videos. Sandy's videos are so much fun. You need to go check them out if you haven't already. Do another purple in there, maybe. The other thing that's going to be good is if I can see, there's not that many purple beads left, so I can get to the bottom of that and have an empty container. And I have to do my beads one at a time. Michelle says, love finding discount yarn. Hey, Andrea. Joanne said, I just saw the upper portion. Here, let me try and, it's really hard to get a good, because it's so long. It's 3 feet long. So it goes on. And I started this, this is some of my dyed fabric that it's on. Hey, Julie, I'm sorry. Happy to see you here. Hope you're having a good day. Barbara said, Michelle, this was completely free. A couple times a year, our library does a really good thing by inviting all the crafters in the community to share their giveaways and take what they see. Oh, fun. Sandy. This is going to be for sale at my open studios. I'm going to finish it off with a stick at the top and the bottom. All right, so this is what I'm thinking. I don't know if you guys can get a good look. There's just a few little beads around the French knots. And so that's what I'm going to continue the rest of the way down here. So obviously I won't get it done today, but I will be making progress. And hopefully by the time I get to the end of it, it will have a title. Thank you. Barbara said it's beautiful. I love it. And it hangs on a skinny wall in my studio. So you know what? If it doesn't sell, I'm okay with that too. Hey, Terry, I am painting today. I was in the zone. Ooh, don't we love it when that happens? Let's see. Sandy said, there's my sweet Terry girl. What are you painting today, Terry? All right, I'm not a fan of these yellow on there, so that's good. Now I'm wondering, okay, let's just try. No, I don't want the white. Okay, I'm eliminating more things. I hope it doesn't look, you know, sometimes I think beads add so much, and sometimes I'm afraid of them taking over from something. All right, I just don't like what's up here, so I think we're going to add. But I think that this just makes me think of some kind of like a wandering garden. Might have to decide before I go much farther if it's too many. Let's see. Uh-oh. I see loose threads over there. What did I do? Well, let's see if we can pull these through the rest of the way. I don't know. Whew. Okay, I got lucky there. Very lucky. Neil said, I would add satin stitch goldfish to your piece. I don't think a goldfish goes in here, but I would never do a satin stitch. I can tell you that. I would never, ever do a satin stitch. Satin stitch and I are not friends. Michelle says, I like the earthy colors. Thank you. Joanne, I think instead of framing this piece, I'm going to put a backing on it, and I'm going to put a stick at the top and at the bottom. Because it's so thin, it's, let's see, it is, so it's only 4.5 inches wide. And I think, and then it's 3 feet long. So I think not having a frame around it is going to be better. But you know, by the time I get to the end, I could change my mind. Terry said, I am trying a new style, black background and bright, bold flowers and leaves, kind of tropical. Ooh. Andrew said, the colors are a lovely combination. Thank you. Michelle said, Terry, I like the black background sometimes. Sandy said, well, if you can influence me with bullying knots, maybe I can influence you with a little satin stitch. Probably not. No, yeah, I can do satin stitch. I much prefer long and short stitch or a split stitch. And I get so frustrated with satin stitch that I finally decided, you know what? I don't have to do it. Now I can do, I like better if let's see, let me get me an example. Okay. If you take something like this and you put it, underneath your thing, and then you do your stitches over it, I like that kind of a satin stitch. That one I can do, but it's just not my favorite stitch to do. And I figure life is short. Do the stitches that make you happy, right? I think these little guys are going to be what I use the most of, but let's see what these would look. Joanne said, I love these colors too. Yeah, and this started off as a way to just sort of use up the sari scraps, because I do love couching things down so much. Let's see. And I think if you couch the right things down, you can really get some interesting effects. So this actually got me thinking about doing several more. I have another, I don't have another one of these things. Several more like scroll-like things. All right. Yeah, I think adding that little one there helped. That was just a little something, something. Hey, Hummer. Boy, am I doing too many beads? It's so hard to know. It's just so hard to know. Anybody else have any title ideas for this one? I just can't. Sandy said, hi, Hummer. It's wonderful to see you up and going. Yes. Michelle said, I love couching too, and it's so easy. Yeah, and you can just add so much to a piece. I'm really trying to make up my mind here. Not so sure that those are adding enough. I think these guys are the ones that are going to be carrying stuff. Any luck at all, the guys will go to lunch in the next 10 minutes or so. They're getting the decking on the overhang right at the front door. So that's filling in all the rafters. And I just can't wait to see the effect of that. So let's see if I can zoom you guys in anymore for a minute. Oh, you don't want to do that one. We don't want to zoom me in. You don't need that. All right, let's come over here. So let's focus a little better. So this is what I'm wondering. Is it going to be too much sparkle, or is it going to be just right if I continue with about that amount of sparkle the rest of the way? That's what I want you guys to feed in on. So Sue said, I think I would keep the beading sparse, let them be accent, not focal points. Yeah, and see, that's what I'm afraid of. If I already got too many, do I need to go back and take these out and start over? A walk in the park, drifting dreams. Andrew said the colors are a hedgerow natural to me. Ooh, I like that. Hummer said, hi, everyone. I'm up. I've just made angels all in silver. Ooh. Michelle, you're on a roll. So Sue, do you think that's too overdone, or? So then maybe when okay, we're just going to go. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to here with this thread, and then I will know, and I'm going to go down someplace else, that if I like them sparser, I can come out. That's what I'm going to do. There is a plan for the plan. Barbara said, I think small waves of sparkle like you have there, but occasional. Sandy said, I can't believe there's a magpie that says don't add the bling. Dewdrops. Yeah, they are kind of like dewdrops, huh? Sandy's all about the bling. Yeah, it's very hard to know. And I kind of have a plan for at least for figuring it out, maybe. I'm going to do, yeah, so I might come out and I might end up taking those out. But here's what I'm going to do. I am going to do one more here. No, two more. I can see where I need two more. I think the right thing might be just these little bits of gold and then occasionally a big one in with the bullions. Sue said, I'm more of a magpie in terms of collecting things, less so in terms of bling. Andrea said, would some more matte beads amongst them change the finish? I don't know. I pulled out the matte beads and they didn't do it for me against them. All right, so here's what we're going to try. Let me get this one on. And I'm going to pull my thread up and I'm going to cut it off here. I'm not even knotting anything yet. All right, so that gives us that. Now let's thread the needle again. Well, a couple thoughts. Possibly using the bigger ones where I have the clusters of bullions. I think might be a bit. Let's see if I pull you back just a little bit more. Okay, so not multiple, but just like one big one where I have, trying to push you forward, where I've got the little bits of sari or the bullions. I think that's a good thing. And don't do any more big ones there. Sue says, put the beads where you want the viewer's eyes to go. That's a good thought. Ooh, here's one good thing. If I'm doing those big beads, I can use the bigger needle. I don't have to use the beading needle for that one. So let's try that because I can do those pretty quickly. I'll just take a long thing of thread. I think if I had a lot of matte beads, perhaps, yeah, I'm also trying to be really, really good at using what I have. I had to order some yellow beads for the yellow bullion piece. And I ordered like a bunch of different ones and I actually sent some back that weren't going to work. So I didn't hold on to them. Michelle said, Susan, would you consider this piece a snippet roll? Okay. In some cases, I mean, the shape of it is a snippet roll, but I'm not going to cut this apart to use for anything else. So to me, a snippet roll is something that you create, you patch together, you do whatever you want on with the intention to cut just a chunk of it off and use in another piece of work. And this is going to be a finished piece of work on its own. All right, I'm going to come up over with this piece of sari, and I'm going to grab one, just a single big bead. Oh, darn. Look at that. It doesn't want to go through. Oh, I thought for sure it would go through those beads. All right. Just a little bit of sidestepping here. I actually returned beads. Could you believe it, Sue? Yeah, combination might, but here's the thing, Andrea. If this was a new piece that I had just started, I would very likely spend more time messing around with it. But this piece was started like 3 years ago, maybe even longer, and I'm done. I'm over it. And I just want to get to the finish line. So I still want it to be something that I'm proud of, but I'm not going to give it as much time as I would a brand new piece. because I really want to get to, I realize I need to have maybe 2 more wildscapes that are of a decent size, like maybe 16 by 20. I'm almost done with a small one that's only like 8 by 8, but I really would like to have a couple 16 by 20s done by October. Hummer said, I'm all about the bling. Also reminds me of my first dream after my husband passed. Thanks for the memories. Just breathtaking. Love your designs always. Hummer, I'm just so glad that you are up and about a little bit and you're here with us today, because I know some days it's really tough for you. I'm going to come over to this one first. All right. I guess I do have to use the big one, but it's okay once the needle's threaded. But sometimes those beading needles, the only beading needles I use are a number 10 tulip needle, and that's because I can get my needle threader through it. All right, I'm going to go. Yeah, so one there. I'm going to come over here. I still want to put some little blingy things. Hey, Rita, are you brand new? We are welcoming you. Would love to know more about you and what kind of work you do. If you've been a lurker in the past, that's okay too. Yeah, I'm not going to come over here and add any bling. I think I'm just going to do the little bits of gold around the French knots. It's so hard to do less is more when you've got a more is more mindset. It's really hard. Phyllis, how are you feeling today? I know you're usually back there lurking. I hope you're feeling a little bit of energy today. I hope that when you guys come hang out with me, those of you that are dealing with emotional or physical junk, that you are getting a little bit of escapism. Rita says, I'm a newbie at this. Ooh. Well, we love having you here with us. We have a wide variety of folks here that love to do all sorts of things. We have stitchers, paper crafters, sculptors. Oh, Tanya. Tanya's not here today either. First Dream. That's a good title. Yes. Hey, Rita, there's no reason to be sorry about anything. Barbara said, if you really want to just finish it quickly, I'd say add small patches of the larger beads and call it done. It's absolutely gorgeous. Thank you. I think adding these big beads in these sections and then some scattered of the gold ones. So I might end up taking out some of the stuff at the top, but I'm not going to worry about that till I go down the rest of this. And sometimes you have got to do that. You've got to just try something that doesn't work. And, who likes unpicking stitches and taking things out? Nobody really likes that. But sometimes that's what the piece needs. And sometimes, okay, if it's stitch stuff that doesn't come out the way I like, you guys know me, I'm just going to put a bunch of French knots over it and call it texture. I got caught on the back of something. There we go. Sandy said, Rita, you landed in the perfect place. You'll find so much encouragement here. Your mind just might explode with joy. Can you get this later? Yes, Rita, it will be available as a replay. So it'll show up after this stream's over with. I go from 12 to 1 every Wednesday, Rita, and maybe somebody can grab the link to the Facebook group for Rita, and you can come over and join us there if you like. We'd love to have you. We are not a super active group. We're trying to get more active. Joanne said, this is one of my favorite pieces of yours. I'm blown away from your usual nature scrapes and white neutrals that I thought couldn't be topped. These colors are captivating. Thank you. And people say, oh, well, you do all the things in green, but I am really drawn to a wide variety of colors, just not the pink. I mean, you know me, you might someday see one thing in pink if I ever do my color series, but not for a while. All right, I'm liking that. I have to make sure I am not pulling it too tight on the back. Andrea said, crafty chat with like-minded people is always a pleasure. Yes, indeed. Hummer said, thank you. I was just going to tell Rita the same. Welcome. Michelle said, Joanne, I really like this piece too. Phyllis said, thank you for asking. Yes, I'm a lurker, and you know that's just fine. We love our lurkers here, but I'm learning. Rita said, I imagine this would be beautiful to see all the sparkle in person. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping, and hopefully I will take a look at all the title suggestions and do some more brainstorming and come up with the perfect title for it. And I just think the simple framing, because it's got that lovely frayed edges on the side, I'm just going to back it with a piece of felt and put a stick at the top and the bottom. And I think that will set it off. All right, I'm really liking the big beads in those places. So I think that was a good choice. I've got so many pieces that are so close to the finish line, and you know, I've got a big mess here. Let me straighten out my mess. I thought I should have had more thread. What did I do? And this is because I have the bad habit of traveling a distance across the fabric, but I've got a mess. That's all I can say. It's a big old mess. So sometimes we have to stop stitching and see if we can clean up our mess. Let's see what I can do here. If I go back up to here, I can figure out where did I go the most wrong? Because I don't want to, I mean, this would be easy enough to take out, but come on. Those of you that have more perfectionist tendencies might be aghast. It doesn't want to post the link, huh? Well, if you go to Facebook, if you're on Facebook, wow, I'm just making it worse here. And look for Susan Taylor Brown Creative Circle. Because I know I didn't get it on the back or on the description. Okay, we got my needle back there. It's 36 inches long, Michelle, and 4.5 inches wide. All right, here's the mess I'm working on. And there are a few things I can do. So the first thing I'm going to do, thank you, Barbara, is knot this off. So now, you know, 5 years ago, I would have been really upset with myself, and I probably would have just put this aside and given up on it for a while. And I would have been really upset at the mess on the back here. Because I know the way I finish my work, you know, there's a little bit of padding here and then some felt. You're not going to notice any of the bumps and stuff from the knots. Okay. Kat's in with the link. Awesome. Thank you so much, Kat. Yes. Hummer said maybe couch the mess. That's what I do when I'm a mess. I sew myself to the couch. Yep. So here's one of the things I do. Okay. Perfectionist, look away. This will appall you. I'm going to cut my loose threads, and I'm just going to tie a knot at each end. Might it have been quicker to, you know, just remove everything and start over? Maybe, but this works. You cannot be so precious with your work that you don't finish your work. Take it from somebody who has many years of unfinished projects just sitting there, and I'm tired of letting them just sit. So it's time to move on. And if I get to the point where it's done and I don't feel like it's something that I can put out for sale, that's a different situation. But this is going to finish up just beautifully, and I'm not worried about it at all. All right, this one right here, I'm going to cut in the center. Rita said, I'm going to save this so I can watch it again. Well, I hope you go back and watch even more stuff on my channel. There's lots of things there for you. I'm wetting my fingers a little bit because when the threads get slippery, that tends to help them stay together. Joanne said, Susan, you said this piece was started several years ago. If we measure progress in terms of then and now, this piece says you were accomplished years ago. Oh, thank you, Joanne. You know, I think I was accomplished. What I was also, though, was very much lacking in confidence. I was lacking in confidence to call myself an artist, confidence that what I had to create was something worth sharing with the world. Now I know better. Yeah, the back will be covered with a piece of felt when it's done, so that then when it hangs against the wall, everything will be flat. I'll probably stuff some sections to make sure, you know, like put some batting in there to make sure I don't have any lumps. Barbara said, I would love to have that on my wall. Well, one thing I'm thinking about is before Open Studios, I might have a preview sale for my newsletter people. So you guys will be able to see a walkthrough of what the Open Studios setup looks like and see what there is for sale so that you guys will have advance notice. And then all I would ask is that I'm allowed to keep the stuff hanging with a sold sign until the end of Open Studios. So that means if you're interested in shopping and you're in the United States, because I unfortunately do not ship outside of the US, make sure that you are on my newsletter. You can go over to my website, susantaylorbrown.com, and you can sign up for the newsletter there. I don't even get one out once a month most of the time, but that's what I'm shooting for. Yeah, I figured it'd be, I really have this idea in my head that I hope I can pull off for the Open Studios to make it really a nature experience, because the wildscapes were what were juried into the show. So when you come into the house, into the sunroom, the first thing you're going to see on the wall is going to be the Heart of Gaia. And then I will have all the wildscapes set up in that room, along with some other things to kind of bring the foresty, naturey experience to life. Let's see, I need to make sure I'm getting all the right threads. I'll have my nature music going. We'll have all that. So it'll be a private video just for the people that are on the newsletter subscriber. Yes, you could put red dots on stuff before Open Studios. So that's my plan. I might not have everything set up the way it's going to be, but I'm going to give you guys on the newsletter an inside view and shopping experience. All right. I think I got all of those. Now we'll check the beads. Everybody seems secure. I can go back over later to make sure, but let me pull you back from the Zoom a little. All right. Now, what I've done here is, see, just a single big bead. And I think that adds in those sections, I think they can take the size. And now I think not as many. I may come back and take these out and redo, but I'm going to go with just these little guys staggered around. And so, you know, in the past, I would have gotten very frustrated that, you know, oh, I wasted time. Oh, gee, this live stream was just kind of blah because I wasn't, you know, making a lot of progress. I should have thought about this ahead of time. This is what it means to be an artist. It means that sometimes stuff works and sometimes it doesn't. Will I be bringing in some live plants? That is kind of one of the thoughts I had, Sue. Bringing in a lot of greenery. It's not a really big room, but I would like to have that room have the scent of, I even was thinking last night, you know, bring in a bucket of dirt that I keep wet. So you've got that smell of wet dirt. Uh-oh. And Barbara said, in my excitement, I lost my needle. I actually put it away. Oh, wow. One of those people that can actually use her needle book. Michelle said, I think small book covers with this style would sell well, maybe like 4x4. That would be cute. Yeah, I don't do book covers anymore, but those would be fun. I am thinking possibly some other scroll things. And I have, okay, Joanne, be prepared for another, not what you expected from me, but I have in mind a larger piece with all kinds of colors where I can just sort of go crazy like this, start with my couching and my flat stitching and then add things, but it's going to be all the colors. It's going to be all kinds of colors. And I already have the title. It's going to be Colorfetti. And I think that will be, it won't be something I start right yet, although I might, who knows? Who knows? Kat said, I am in love with the idea of bringing in wet dirt for the experience of the scent. Thank you. You get it. Yes. Well, sometimes I use ChatGPT to help me kind of brainstorm. And so one of the things I've been reading about a lot lately is how when people come to view your art, not more than the art, but just as much of art, they want to have an experience. They want it to be something. Oh, a fountain, of course. I need to bring in the small fountain. We used to have a small one. I am okay with getting another small fountain. Thank you for that reminder, Sue. And so I, brainstormed with ChatGPT about how to make it more of an experience. And one of the suggestions was to create a kind of like a touch thing, like you would think about doing with kids or people that needed, that sensory input, where you would have pine cones and sticks and leaves, and they could, feel them and smell them and kind of get the whole idea of nature from those things as well. So, but yes, a fountain, just a little tabletop fountain off in the corner will be perfect. Possibly a fan blowing like some wind through the room. I've got a big wind, what do they call that? Kinetic art piece outside, but maybe a small kinetic piece with the wind blowing through. But I definitely want to make sure I get the smells in there, the smells of outside. All right, fewer. And it's so hard for me not to think about where I'm putting these. I really am trying to keep the random. So Rita, if you haven't already checked out some of the other videos on my channel, there have been some recent things, my 5 favorite embroidery stitches, and then detached bullion knot. And then of course, no embroidery police. Those are the most 3 recent ones. Michelle said, to make water, I've seen blue felt with white stitch waves or ripples. Looked good. Yeah. Yeah, the best water has always been my stitched water, but dang, that takes a long time. It's also really neat to take a piece of blue fabric and then a piece of organza that's kind of like a very light blue, and then you put over it. It's not quite the same as the stitch, but it does give a really nice effect. Andrea said, Open Studios as a project just seems to grow. Yes. But the plants, I'm a plant person anyway, so the plants were kind of a given, and just thinking about ways to extend it. I can't believe that I didn't have a fountain on my list though, so thank you for that, Sue. This is why chats are good. And we have a long driveway, so with a big fence, and so I'm going to be putting big posters on the fence outside that kind of tell my story. And then they'll come in, and then you walk through the sunroom, and then you'll go around the corner and there's the studio. And so I'll have other art that's not wildscapes hanging in other places. All right, so as I'm looking here at just the few randoms, I don't know. I might think I need something in between this and just the little bits there. So I might have to go back in and take another look at what I have in the way of beads. It might be size too. What else do I have that's really small? I don't know that I want the blue. I don't know that blue is quite the right color there. These are really tiny. No, I don't like blue on there. This is kind of like a coral colored. They are very tiny beads. They're so tiny that I don't think they're going to offer enough bang for the buck. And yeah, just a bit of sparkle, but this feels like it's not enough. So I don't know. Let's see what one of these looks like. They're not sparkly. I feel like the white might be too, yeah, no, got to stick with the sparkle. Again, just eliminating things works. So, and then, oh, for music, of course, I will have, see, I was thinking sound, but I wasn't thinking the fountain. I've been training my Pandora station by thumbs upping all these. I played nature sounds for Tally because she gets stressed with all the construction stuff. And lately I've been playing birds. So we have all the bird songs. And so we'll have that in the background as well. Definitely got that one tangled. I cut my threads so long that there's always a bit of a tangle. So I do like the big ones on there. That's good. Yeah, not, this one's blue. So let's see. See, the blue bothers me. Maybe I just need to get over it. Get over myself, right? This actually is going faster than I thought it would. So that's good. And I do have some of these guys are blue. So I guess a little bit of blue makes sense. Well, it's actually easier to do single random ones than trying. I have trouble when I combine things like this to do random, but I think just doing picking a different single bead every so often makes it easier. Terry said Tally sure scored when she went home with you. Yes, she did. She's a spoiled little girl. She's crashed out in the middle of the living room to my left right now because the guys are at lunch break, so there's nothing overhead. But you know, she's great. When everybody goes home, she's like, okay, it's fine. My house is back to normal. She doesn't like stay frustrated. Thank goodness. All right. I think the thing with sparkle with me when I do a whole bunch of it, unless I'm doing a white piece, if I'm doing a white piece, I feel like there needs to be a lot of sparkle. Like I can't wait until the current one gets to the point where I can start adding the beads. But it's sort of like getting dressed up. You know, I don't do dressy up clothes. And so I feel like I'm wearing somebody else's clothes when I'm like trying to make something too sparkly. All right, so this, you know, some side steps with some figuring things out, but This is like the first probably 10 inches, so that's not bad. If I sat here and kept working on it today, I could probably get to the end of this one today. Yeah, peace, blissful peace. Oh, and I tell you, Saturday, we were looking forward to, our 2 days of quiet. And then they showed up to work here on Saturday anyways, because the contractor was going out of town. He wanted to get stuff set up for the guys to do while he was gone. We were not expecting that. So I only had 1 day of quiet. But in a few more months, it'll all be done. Hopefully without any issues. Then I have an old door outside. I need to paint it white so I can have a white wall for some other stuff to hang on. Figuring out how to hang certain things. I've scored some of the posts that they're putting up is really thick wood, like the wood's like that thick, and they have scraps of it in the wood pile. So I've been saving those so I can paint them and have some pedestals for the terrariums that will hopefully be done by then. Joanne said, my lag is so bad, so I'm saying goodbye and have a great weekend, everyone. Bye, Joanne. Yeah, I'm about done anyways. My voice is starting to go and my stomach is growling, which tells me it must be time to go eat some lunch. Rita, I hope you'll come back and join us again. I am here every Wednesday. Sandy says, I got to go because I have a Zoom meeting at 3. Love you, Sandy. I am grateful to all of you for being here with me every week. We're a small group, but we are mighty, right? And everybody go off and do something that makes you happy to create this week, and don't be a perfectionist about it. It's okay if you got to start over or stitch over it or put another piece of fabric over the top. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye for now.